Welcome back to another episode on the Eczema Warrior podcast, or if you're listening on YouTube, welcome back to my channel. This is the place where you learn everything you need to know for your gut, skin, specifically eczema, and the nervous system, with a hint of life behind the scenes as a dietitian who also has eczema, but it is completely in remission. And actually, today's episode, I'm really excited because I'm sharing with you the things that I stopped doing to improve my skin dramatically. And everything that I'm going to share today, and there's 9 things that I particularly stopped doing to improve my skin, are things that I've noticed time and time again that this always helps to heal my skin. And if you think about the title of this episode, it's interesting because most people, educators, practitioners will say, this is what you do to heal. However, as someone who has been in this space for over 6 years, I have seen that it's not more information that people need. It's not that you need to do more because, quite frankly, a lot of people, and if you're listening, you're probably already doing a lot. And I've seen way more healing when I stopped doing the things that I thought would be helpful and started to listen to my body more. So if you're someone who has skin issues, has eczema, and you're overwhelmed, you're overworked, and you're just feeling like you're out of options, this is going to be the video and the episode for you to reflect on your current plan or your current protocol. And by the way, a lot of you who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed, so make sure you hit subscribe below, give this video a thumbs up, and if you're listening to this on a podcast, make sure you hit subscribe as well. That way you won't miss our weekly videos and content to help you heal, which I know all of you are here for that. Okay, without further ado, let's get into today's episode. There are a total of 9 things that I stopped doing to help my skin improve. The very first thing is I stopped focusing on my skin. Yes, you heard it right. And you're going to be like, how do you not focus on your skin when your skin is flaring? The thing with eczema is it's such a visible condition, right? It's the first thing you see. It's the first thing you feel. It's the first thing other people see because your skin is the largest organ. So it's really hard not to focus on it. This is something that has literally changed everything for me, and which is why it's the number 1 thing on the list. By the way, there's no specific order of which one is better than the other or more important. It's just what came up to my mind when I was planning this episode yesterday. So I stopped focusing on my skin and I stopped obsessing over it. I realized that with my eczema, the more that I focused on it, the more that it was flaring and the more it felt like it was never going to heal. When a flare comes, I do everything I can to redirect my energy. Now, of course, when a flare comes, I'm first acknowledging it, right? I know it's there. Be mindful of what could be the trigger, but I don't go too deep into it, as in I'm not obsessing over why did the flare start? What did I do wrong? What did I eat? Was it this? Was it that? I just don't panic and I try my best to redirect my energy because what you focus on expands. If you focus on the flare and you're like obsessing over it and just staring at it and just looking in the mirror and picking at it, the more it's going to flare because what you focus on expands. Where your attention goes, energy flows, positive or negative. If your attention goes to it in a negative way, it's going to give you negative results. So that's the number 1 thing. I stopped focusing on my skin and I redirected my energy and my attention. You can redirect your energy in whatever way works for you. I will go find a hobby that I like doing. I will go for a walk. I will listen to my favorite song. Anything to get my mind off of my skin. Having a fun conversation with your friend. I don't know, anything. Find something that you can redirect your attention. And that has been such a powerful tool that I've used to help my skin improve dramatically. The second thing that I stopped doing to improve my skin is I stopped pouring all my energy to others, including friends. Love you guys, but we all have boundaries. Friends, family, relationships, just people. You cannot heal your eczema. Anyone who's listening who doesn't have eczema, but you have other chronic symptoms, you cannot heal from an empty cup, period. If your cup is empty because you're pouring your energy out to other people, you're not going to have anything left to heal. And your body needs a full cup in order to heal. And I know a lot of you will be like, but I'm a mother. I need to care for my kids and my children, my family. And I understand that, even though I'm not a parent, I understand that We all have priorities. We have bills to pay. We have things to do. We have people to take care of. But find time for yourself, because the last thing you want is to burn out to the point that you can't even get out of bed. And we know that happens with eczema. We also know that happens with just general burnout. And so as you're pouring your energy to others, give yourself that back as well. Whether that's spending time with yourself, you have a couple days in the week to do that, more self-care, more nervous system regulation. Find time for yourself to fill that cup up. I don't know if you guys are into astrology, but I'm sort of into astrology, but not like super into it. So I know a couple things. So my big three, I think is what it's called, signs are: I'm a Pisces sun, but I'm a cusp. So I'm also Aquarius moon, and a Gemini rising. And one of the things about me is that as an Aquarius moon, and moon is your emotions and how you regulate your emotions, as an Aquarius moon, we need a lot of time by ourselves. We thrive in like solitude sometimes and independence. And so one of the ways for us to regulate is to just be alone. And I can actually see that with myself as well, that when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I can't talk to anybody. I'm like, just leave me alone. I'm going to go sit in my room and listen to music, or I don't know, I'm going to go journal, or I'll have a glass of wine or something to take the edge off or whatever. Not that I'm doing that every day, but makes me feel good on some days. For other people, they really need to socialize as much as they can. Your moon sign, your astrology signs can actually tell you a little bit about why the way that you are and why maybe you're someone that thrives better when you're alone. I would actually say use it, like put your signs, if you know your birth time, into ChatGPT and be like, why am I the way that I am? And what's the best way for me to regulate my stress? And you would be surprised how accurate it is. The third thing that I stopped doing to heal my skin is I stopped dieting or feeling like I need to diet. Now, Julia years ago would have been like, okay, my eczema is related to my diet always, so I'm going to go on a strict diet to heal it. Now, as someone who has been through hundreds of flares, I know that my eczema is not related to my diet. I know that going on a diet isn't going to help me as much as I expect it to help me. Obviously, we still want to support our bodies with the right nutrients, but I'm not dieting. So this is for you if you're someone who have tried many diets: AIP, paleo diet, carnivore diet, vegan diet, low histamine diet, elimination diet, you name all the diets. And if it's not working, something needs to change. There's obviously other underlying root causes that you want to look into. So for me, how I improve my skin is actually I stopped dieting. And my listeners, I'm not going to go too deep into it because you know what I mean about this whole diet and eczema thing. Dieting is a no-no. Not going on diet is actually what helps me with my skin. The next thing is I stopped filling my calendar with 10,000 things. If you have undiagnosed ADHD like me, I think I have ADHD, where I tend to keep myself probably way too busy and I feel like I can't not be busy. When my skin starts to flare, or I start to feel an inkling of an itch, or I start to notice that I'm just like more run down, I am going into my calendar and I'm clearing things off my calendar. I'm no longer doing things because I have to or feel like I have to. I am setting very clear boundaries, which ties into pouring my energy out to others. That's part of my calendar as well. If I want my skin to improve, I need to have more space in my days, in my calendar, to recover. I look at my calendar and I say, okay, what can I take off my plate right now? What is necessary and mandatory and what is not? Remember the cup analogy. Your skin can only heal when your cup is full, when you have the capacity. If it looks like this, it's empty right now, a little bit of water, it's going to be really hard to heal. So look at your calendar, stop filling it up with a million things. I bet you probably don't have to do 3 of the things on the calendar and you'll feel better and your skin will heal. Next thing that I stopped doing to improve my skin is I stopped over researching and over consuming advice. We all know in the wellness space, everyone is a freaking eczema coach now. Everyone is a specialist in eczema, some of them without licensing, which is, I'm not going to comment on that, but there's a lot of information. There's a lot of protocols. There's a lot of recommendations. Go on a candida protocol. You have histamine issue. You have parasites. You have hormones. You name it. Now, in the past, I noticed that the more that I consumed information, the more that I didn't see my skin heal. And that makes sense, right? Because when you're in this loop of constant information overload, that's stress on the body, right? Because first of all, you don't know if it's even working for you. You don't even know if it applies to you. It stresses you out and overwhelms you with all the different recommendations. It starts to give you anxiety, make you feel like you're doing something wrong. And also the other thing too is you end up doing all the things, or you end up having decision fatigue and you're not doing anything. For my case, with my skin, I was like dipping my toes in everything. I was doing a little bit of this, I was doing a little bit of supplements, I was doing a cleansing, I was doing a diet. And so I didn't have clear direction and I couldn't be consistent. So I stopped over researching, focused on one plan, one protocol, stay consistent with it, stopped second guessing, and that's when I saw the most change. It's like a gym workout. My trainer gave me a workout plan. It's like the same workouts all the time, same glute workouts. It's the same exercises. And I used to think that building muscle mean you have to do a different exercise every time. I learned that you actually build more muscle and better results when you stick with a boring plan. You stick with the same exercises. And I've seen amazing results when it comes to that. That also applies to your nutrition and to your eczema plan. Doing the same thing for a period of time, given that it's a good plan, it will give you better results than doing a million things. Okay, the next thing I stopped doing is I stopped identifying as someone who's sick. I used to make eczema who I am. My life would resolve around eczema. I would subconsciously or even consciously say, oh, my skin is always like this, or my skin is always flaring. So I was constantly living this life of someone with skin issues. I started to identify as someone with skin issues. And the moment that you identify as someone being sick, you're always going to be sick, right? Because you don't know what being normal is. That's hard. And it takes a while to work through. But I had to shift my perspective on my skin and on my health, that I am not someone that is always sick. I'm not someone that just lives in flares. Your brain is going to look for proof of what you say to it and what you tell it. So the more that you tell your brain or subconsciously think about it, the more it's going to find that evidence of what you believe. The next thing I stopped doing is I stopped ignoring signs. So interestingly, and this is where tuning into your body is something that we have to learn to do. Before my skin flares, and this will apply to you as well, there are going to be warning signs. There are going to be signs that your body is calling for help. And they could be subtle. They could be things you don't really see or don't really feel because they're like minor or not. They could be also very obvious. For example, fatigue, right? Maybe the last few weeks or the last few months, you've been overworking yourself and now you're feeling fatigue. You're getting headaches here and there. Maybe you're even getting migraines. You're noticing that your digestive system has been off. More constipation, slower digestion, more bloating, even on the other end, diarrhea. Maybe you're noticing your immune system is overactive. Like right now, we're in high pollen season. A lot of people are having allergies. You're noticing that this year you're more allergic. Maybe you're not getting eczema symptoms yet, but this is a crucial time right now where people are having seasonal allergies. And if we don't start to work on your microbiome and your gut and your immune system, which starts from the gut, then you may notice your eczema showing up later on. So there are signs and symptoms that our bodies will tell us. We just have to tune into it. We want to be proactive, not reactive. We don't want to wait until your skin flares, because at that point, it's been a long time. Something has been boiling in the back that's causing this eruption later on. So I'm not ignoring signs. I'm not ignoring symptoms. I'm really paying attention to my body. I also stopped speaking about myself negatively. And this ties into the other point about I don't identify as someone who's sick, because someone who identifies themselves as sick, they typically don't speak to themselves very nicely. They might say things like, oh, I'm always flaring. Oh, this is the time of the year that my skin always gets bad. This is just how my life is, right? It seems very casual, you're just casually saying that. But remember, casual or not, in passing in a conversation or not, you're still saying those things. So subconsciously you believe it. So I stopped speaking to my body in a way where I wouldn't want to be spoken to, or like to my best friend. I wouldn't tell them, oh, like this is your eczema. It's always going to be like that. That's not a nice thing to say to your friend. right? Or your kid or your daughter. You would never say that to your family members. So I wouldn't say that to myself about my skin. I always show gratitude. I always show compassion. And I try to reframe my thoughts and my language around my skin. Lots of episodes on the channel for that as well. Your relationship with yourself is really important. So changing the way that I speak to myself and stopping the internal dialogue that wasn't serving me helped me so much in improving my skin. And I stopped forcing the outcome. I used to treat healing like something I had to control, like I have to heal at this time on this day. And I would look at my skin hoping that there was like a piece of it or part of it that would heal. Obsessed with it, right? Laser focused on it. And if it didn't heal within the timeline that I unrealistically put on myself, I would feel like I need to try harder, eat more perfect, take more supplements, go on more cleanses, do more treatments, try different protocols, and then thinking if I did all those things, my skin should clear. Now, remember, our bodies and your body does not respond to force. It does not respond to pressure. You cannot force your way to healing, okay? Because when you force, when you pressure, that's pressure on your nervous system. That is pressure on your body. Your body is now in fight or flight. When your body is in fight or flight, it's prioritizing survival and it's not prioritizing healing. We cannot control the outcome with anything in life, really. We can't control the outcome. Like when you apply for a job that you really fucking want, can you control if you're going to get hired? No, you can't. That dream job, can you control the outcome of that? No. But what can you control? You can control the things that you do to prepare for the job interview, right? Your resume, your interview, your skills, your charisma, practicing, right? You're doing your best to hopefully get that job, but you cannot control the result of that, right? Even if you put in the effort. That also applies to healing eczema. We can do our best to support our bodies, but we cannot control the outcome. Now, I'm not saying that does that mean you'll do your best and you'll never achieve the outcome? Of course not. You can always heal, given that you're doing the right things and giving your body what it needs. And it obviously goes beyond diet. It goes beyond supplements, clearly. And a lot of the other points that I mentioned today is actually stopping a lot of the things that we're doing that's preventing us from healing. So instead of controlling the when is my skin going to heal? When and how? Is it going to be on time for my wedding? Is it going to be on time for this? I absolutely empathize and understand that some of us are trying to heal for a specific event. But if you find yourself obsessing over it, controlling it, then it may be a sign for you to take a step back. And instead of thinking, what can I do to heal this flare faster? Ask yourself, what can I do to support my body right now? How can I do that? And start caring for your body in a way that is sustainable, in a way that is in alignment. You're not forcing, pressuring, making it hard for yourself. We don't want that. Okay? I hope this episode gave you insight, a different perspective when it comes to healing eczema. Also applies to other chronic symptoms as well. It doesn't have to be eczema, but I'm just sharing it because it's my own experience as well and what I've seen in practice. If you like this episode, please share this to anyone else that has eczema. Share it on your stories. Share it in your next email out. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. We're actually going to head out for an event with my friend. We're going to go for dinner and drinks tonight. So I'm excited. That's it. See you in the next one.